The Three Lions versus Seleção. Two nations with storied footballing histories and both in currently different situations with their national teams. Always a memorable watch, always a classic, and we're bringing it to you here on the Coach's Corner. And as always, you are welcome. Yes, people, it is Saturday evening and it's a trip to Wembley Stadium to watch England play Brazil. Normally, of course, it would be a much anticipated clash, but England don't have the best record against Brazil in recent times. The last time they, in fact, beat Seleção was in a friendly in 2013. And at that time, of course, I do seem to remember a certain Charles Joseph John Hart being in goal for that match. How times have changed. We just don't seem to have any luck. Maybe our luck will change, as we will, of course, be talking about the two teams in their respective situations. But as always, there is no way that I can take the stream any further without introducing my host with the most, Hanno Trollope. How's it, Bert? Good evening to you, and I hope you're all right. I think he'll join in a minute. But we will, in fact, continue. And as I've said, the lead up to this game sort of sees a more settled England, more or less that is, against the new Brazil side. The team news, of course, for England, which has come out in the recent hours, is that Harry Kane will not be playing tonight. And with Jordan Henderson also not being called up, it is going to be interesting to see who captains England tonight. It could be any one of the other players, in fact, I will actually share the team news right now. I can tell you that Stones and Maguire will be in the first 11. They will be playing, so it could be that either one of them gets to captain England, or it could be Kyle Walker. We will see. But the team news is confirmed. Jordan Pickford, as always, will be in goal. It will be Ben Chilwell of Chelsea starting at left back with Walker. Oopsie daisies, with Kyle Walker of Manchester City and his Manchester City teammate John Stones in the defence, with Manchester United's Harry Maguire completing the back four. A standard 4-2-3-1 with Declan Rice and Conor Gallagher of Chelsea starting tonight. No place, of course, for Calvin Phillips or Jordan Henderson in that role. So it will be interesting to see how the Chelsea captain goes about his business. And, of course, with no Bukayo Saka in the team or the squad, having withdrawn not too long after reporting to the squad, go figure. The number 7 jersey will be worn by Ben Foden, with Jude Bellingham occupying the number 10 role and Anthony Gordon having a start at number 11. And in the absence of Harry Kane, it will be Aston Villa's in-form striker, Ollie Watkins, who gets the nod. So a former Brentford striker getting the nod over a current Brentford striker. Not too sure that our good friend Steve Jenkins, a.k.a. Mr. B for Life, will be happy with that. But Tony does find a place on the bench alongside the likes of Joe Gomes, Jared Branthwaite, Ben Dunk of Brighton, along with Ezri Konsa, also of Aston Villa. And then, of course, Jared Bowen, Marcus Rashford, Jimmy Maddison of Tottenham Hotspur, Kobe Mainoo of Manchester United, and Sam Johnson and Aaron Ramsdale are the two goalkeepers. Hard to see how Ramsdale justifies his inclusion in the squad, given that he hasn't played very much this season, but it is what it is. And of course, I did in fact mention that the Brazil side is in fact a new side, and new doesn't even begin to describe it, because there could be several people making their debuts tonight, including Bento Krepski, the goalkeeper for Atletico. I want to make sure I have this. Atletico Paranense, yes, that's it. Atletico Paranense, who will be making his debut alongside Joao Gomes of Wolverhampton Wanderers. I don't know why the mouse is acting up on my side. Do please forgive me, everyone. And with several experienced stars, the likes of Casemiro and Neymar, and certainly no Alisson or Edison not in the team, it will effectively be Danilo, who will be expected to captain the team as the most experienced player in the squad. And he will be, of course, playing at right back, the Juventus player. Wendell, of course, is a name that Bukayo Saka will be familiar with. He was, of course, the Porto left back that had Saka in his pocket during that Champions League second round match. Although eventually, thankfully for Arsenal, the London side went on to win on penalties. And I can tell you that right now, as I'm speaking, we are in the last few minutes of the Ireland-Belgium friendly over at the Aviva Stadium. They're into stoppage time, and 1.5 minutes of the three have been played. It is Ireland 0, Belgium 0. So well done to John O'Shea and his boys. Excellent performance, I would say, against a tough Belgian team. In fact, Ireland should have had their opportunity to score, but Evan Ferguson of Brighton and Hove Albion missed a first half penalty, a poor kick that was saved by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, Matt Sells. And so immediately after this match gets over, we will be heading over to Wembley Stadium. But this is, of course, the Brazil team, and it will be Fabricio Bruno and Lucas Lopez Beraldo, the numbers 14 and 25, respectively, as central defenders. An all-Premiership three-man midfield with Joao Gomes of Wolves, Bruno Guimares of Newcastle, and Lucas Paqueta of West Ham occupying that area. And it's a La Liga Clasico forward line with Barcelona's Raphinha lining up alongside Real Madrid's Rodrygo and Vinicius Jr. So the headline for our video has been pretty much made out to be Bellingham against Vinicius Jr. But don't forget, Real Madrid have another player on the field, and it will be interesting to see how those two or those three get on. And on the bench, the likes of Richarlison and Douglas Luiz will be taking their place on the bench and will certainly be expected to come on later on in the game. And of course, now that I've got the England lineup down pat, I am going to make sure that I get the Brazilian names right. And I can confirm that it's finished goalless at the Aviva Stadium. A creditable performance for Ireland. Could have won it, but no shame in securing a draw against a Belgium team that is, of course, missing its own some of its own superstars in the form of Thibaut Courtois and company. And I will, in fact, go to a few comments over here. One of our biggest friends, Lockman Eunice Eugen from Spurs Asia TV, big up to you. And yours truly replying, big up, sir. Thanks for coming on. One of our biggest benefactors and fans, Chelsea fan, big up to you. Keep hitting the like button. Should definitely be a good game. And we've got my fellow Gooner, Bhargav, going to watch the first half of this thing. And I think the US national team might be playing later today, so you can enjoy yourselves. Oh, apparently Canada versus Trinidad is you're taking the mickey. Cut it out. And some for cordialities in the chat. I will hope to get a few more on, maybe. We will definitely welcome you on. And it will be a matter of time before we head over to Wembley Stadium to see the teams line up and also have the national anthems being played. But there is, of course, one topic that I would like to discuss concerning England, and all I can say is shame on you, Benny Blanco, our other derisive name for Ben White of Arsenal. This chap had the temerity to speak to Gareth Southgate and told him that he did not want to be considered for England. And the worst part of him saying no is that with several of England's better right backs being injured and sweating on their places, this could have been his chance to possibly, prove his worth, especially since the likes of Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier will not be going on forever. But he chose to say no because he was still angry, bearing a grudge from his time in Qatar, and lacking any sort of maturity to be willing to, set it right. And all I can say is, if England go on to do well in this tournament, you will regret it. You have no right to think that you can just pick and choose when you get to represent your nation. And if that Southgate leaves and you and you decide to make yourself available again, I do hope that you will not get picked. And I have no respect for you. But if the new manager decides that he wants you on, by all means. Time for the national anthem, starting with the Brazilian one first, and I will mute the screen. The national anthems. As usual, God Save the King coming second, as is customary. And I will, in fact, confirm, of course, that Bento, Lucas Beraldo, and Fabricio Bruno will be making their debuts along with Joao Gomes. So 4 debutants in the Brazil lineup tonight. And that is, of course, confirmed. And England, of course, expected to play in the 4-2-3-1 formation with the defensive midfield partners being Declan Rice and Conor Gallagher. Arthur Diaz of Portugal, Suarez and Ribeiro the assistant referees, and Martins and Miguel are the assistants on VAR duty. So, should be good fun. I know that Portuguese is the language of Brazil, so maybe the Seleção players will get along with these officials. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, my system is currently having a few problems, but confirmed that there are 4 debutants: Bento, Fabricio Bruno, Beraldo, and Joao Gomes. The typical 4-3-3 as is customary. And we see, in fact, Kyle Walker and Danilo, the 2 captains, the 2 right backs, both wearing the number 2 jerseys, exchanging pennants and a few words with referee Diaz. And so we will find out what will be going on, but hopefully now should be a lot better. And before we start, I will a Copa America playoff game. The winner goes to the Copas. Should be fun. England shirt supposedly fantastic. Controversial, let's just say. Come on, Trinidad. Viva Brazil. And time to start the band. Not yet, though. I do believe I wonder if they're assembling in the center circle for some reason. I'm not too sure. We'll find out. Doesn't look as if they are. Actually, they might be. Both teams are in a bit of a huddle right now. And we will find out what is going on. For Gascoigne being spotted in the stands during the anthems. Good to see him looking in some form of health. And, of course, both teams were in the centre circle to pay tribute to the former England manager, Terry Venables, who passed last year at the age of 80. Famously, of course, managed England during the 1996 European Championships. It is Paqueta right now who has the ball in the centre circle, and very soon we will be on our way. Brazil playing in their chain strip of light blue shirts and white shorts. And Paqueta kicks off, and we are underway. And already we see the likes of Gallagher trying to come right hard. And a poor pass there from the number 15, Joao Gomes, on his debut. But eventually Brazil are somehow able to get the ball back and clear their lines. But a few warning signs there, and Brazil will do well not to take things too casually. Danilo. Paqueta. And that is sent forward by Guimares. Finding Raphinha, who ends up sending it across the field to the number 6, Wendell, the Porto left back. Back with Wendell. And is that Vinicius Jr., who came back to do some defensive duties? Looks like that could be. Danilo now. And Gordon trying to be a bit too aggressive, but ends up handing Brazil a throw as we come up to the first minute on the clock. It is England 0, Brazil 0 at Wembley Stadium. Well, England against Brazil will always be a stadium filler, you see. And tickets probably would have proved to be much cheaper than those shirts that were on sale. I think the less said about them, the better at this point. Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland, the man, of course, at the centre of the whole Ben White controversy. And pass back to Krepsky, who finds Suarez de Faria. Fabricio Bruno Suarez de Faria, that is. And Brazil still trying to get the ball, but Bellingham is able to make light work of Guimares there. And Foden lays it off for Gallagher. Walker, who's overlapped. Walker up against Wendell. Gallagher in support. And Guimares hacks him down. And the Portuguese referee, Arthur Diaz, has no hesitation in awarding England the free kick. And this is, of course, Brazil team, which I wouldn't necessarily say is in transition. They do have a new coach, Dorival Jr. And Dorival Jr., of course, finally accepting the job and putting an end to a period of huge uncertainty after Tite's resignation following the World Cup. Coach of the likes of Flamengo and Sao Paulo and Paranense before coming to Brazil. And pretty sharply taken free kick there from Phil Foden with his left foot, but it went across the defense, across the goal. Krepsky was beaten hook, line, and sinker, but thankfully the goal wasn't. And nicely taken free kick, but not quite having the bend on it. I think he might have been aiming for Harry Maguire there, but Maguire just missed it. And already Brazil are a bit under the caution. They've got to make sure they do not allow England to really press hard at them. And that is Raphinha, who's come back to defend, passing it back to Danilo. And Lopez Beraldo. Rodrygo, who's come all the way back. And now Vinicius Jr. And pretty careless play there from the Real Madrid number 20 and Brazil number 7. Silvestre Dorival Jr., the coach. And, of course, among his honors include winning the Copa do Brasil and Copa Libertadores with Flamengo, and the Copa do Brasil again with Sao Paulo, and the Campeonato Paranense with Atletico Paranense, which happens to be the team of Bento Krepsky, the debutant goalkeeper. Very well-travelled manager. And had a fairly decent playing career with the likes of Palmeiras back in Brazil, but never really developed further. More of a defensive midfielder. And once again, Brazil are under pressure and Paqueta are starting to feel the heat a bit. And the two number 8s coming together there, and Paqueta probably is under the impression that he's still playing for West Ham against Gallagher's Chelsea. But in international football, these tackles are not allowed to let fly. And so it is Gallagher's Chelsea teammate Ben Chilwell this time with the free kick. Not so much Phil Foden. Declan Rice also standing over that, but this could very well be left footer's territory, given that Foden took it last time anyway. It is Chilwell with the free kick. Beautifully flighted, but headed outside the penalty area. And I do believe there was an infringement, and in fact, an offside was called. Yeah, Maguire there just stepping away from Joao Gomes and stepping away a moment too soon, really. And Brazil so far spending most of the first 6 minutes camped in their own half. Midfield looks a little bit weak anatomically without the likes of Casemiro and company in there. And of course, without Neymar, I mean, I'm sure Vinicius Jr., Rodrygo, and Raphinha will look to try and get some goals, but might be facetious to say that Neymar's international career should be over. I mean, he is only 32. Strikers don't necessarily last that long in international football, though. Walker with that throw, passed back to him by Watkins. Watkins so far hasn't had much of a sniff, but being rewarded for his brilliant performances with Aston Villa by being given the nod to start today. Wearing the number 9 jersey that is normally worn by Captain Kane. And as I mentioned, yes, Bhargav, it was the same one that had Bukayo Saka in his pocket. Unfortunately, or not for Wendell, Saka isn't even in the squad, let alone on the bench or in the starting lineup. Seven minutes about to have elapsed. Still England 0, Brazil 0, as Krepsky passes it out to Lucas Beraldo. And Danilo trying to take it out, but Gordon running in and sort of clamping him down. And the idea of this 4-2-3-1 formation, which was used by Mikel Arteta back in the day with Arsenal, is clearly to make sure that the wide attacking midfielders are able to really attack the fullbacks and the defenders. Guimares will be expected to perform a very big role today. He is, in fact, in the position that Casemiro normally plays in for Brazil. And Brazil now trying to work with the ball. It is with Paqueta now, who tries to take it forward on the right. Forced back a little bit, but eventually finds Rodrygo. Pass back to Danilo. And that is with Fabrizio Bruno, who has sent that forward. Rodrygo now with the ball. Paqueta. Vinicius Jr. passing it to Danilo. And that is Raphinha on the right, who likes to cut in on the left. Cut in rather, and use his left foot. Danilo receiving that pass back from Vinicius Jr., passing it now to Guimares, who has a job to do tonight, as I've said. And some great play here from Rodrygo. And not the best shot, really. Meat and drink for Jordan Pickford. But this is more promising for Brazil. Forcing the goalkeeper to make a save with a shot on target, albeit a shot which really resembled, which might as well have been a bit of a P-roller, really. But this is much better from Brazil. If they can just soak up the English pressure, they could possibly hit them on the counter-attack. Beraldo. Not the best clearance, really. Headed back towards the danger zone. And Bellingham was tripped, but Arthur Diaz not really interested in that. And so Krepsky rolls it out to Vinicius Jr., hoping to find Paqueta, which he does. Raphinha, Vinicius, back to Paqueta. And Guimares taking it forward. Vinicius Jr., Paqueta, back to Guimares. Paqueta again. Guimares this time to that was Fabrizio Bruno there. I'll have to remember his name. Not very easy to remember his name. But Joao Gomes there getting involved. And Guimares now sends that across the field, hoping to find Raphinha, which he does. But Chilwell, alert to the danger, concedes a throw. Charlison on the bench, as is Douglas Luiz. Two players who should be expected to come on at least later on in the half. I think Guimares, being more of the tougher tackling central midfielder, has been preferred to start tonight ahead of Douglas Luiz, but Luiz can certainly come on and provide some creative spark. Chilwell, Bellingham, Declan Rice, who's come back deep. John Stones, Walker, Stones. Gallagher. Back to Pickford. Maguire. Chilwell. Back to Maguire. And after a period where Brazil were pretty much under the cosh, I think they have started to settle in this game, but they cannot allow England to find some passes together. And so far, it is Chilwell who can send it into the penalty area, but that is easily headed out of the danger zone by Fabrizio Bruno. And, Vinicius Jr. is on his way, and Pickford's rooted in his area. This could be promising, but not the best of shots, really. I think Vinicius Jr. needed a bit more power onto that, and a rather comical piece of play where Maguire ends up smacking defender in the back of the head. But this is a lot more promising from Brazil, and I think it was Kyle Walker who took that that little punt there on the back of his noggin, as they would say in America, of course, the back of his head. And how do England recover from that? Well, clearly Chilwell is in no mood to allow Brazil to settle, but Danilo stops him in his tracks. And Bellingham already getting into the swing of things. And already, after 12 minutes, we have the first yellow card of the game. We see Bellingham trying to put his hands on the referee's shoulders as if to convince him, but the referee saying, none of that, son. You know that you went too far. Well, apparently there... Yep. No chance of Bellingham getting the ball. And first yellow card for the Real Madrid midfielder, who, of course, is wearing the iconic number 5 jersey that a certain Zinedine Zidane wore during his time at Real Madrid. Not too sure it'll be a boring 0-0. And... yeah, the France versus Germany game is coming on, but I think seeing that chance again, Vinicius did everything right. Pickford wasn't able to. It was actually Walker there who ended up kicking the ball into the back of Maguire's head. Quite comical, really. If this were a Manchester derby, it would be a case of Mickey taking. So Vinicius Jr. there doing everything right, but get the shot completely hard enough and on target. And... that is, of course, one of those things that could very well prove to be what might have been. And we do have Kyle Walker on the floor. And coach's corner saying, no, we're watching the rugby when that game starts. He is, actually. And I am not sure what Walker was trying to do there. And thankfully for Maguire, was just in his back and up the back of his head. But still, pretty poor stuff there from the England captain, who... it's going off the field for a little bit. England momentarily down to 10 men. And so we will obviously provide you some updates from that France-Germany game as it kicks off. It will be interesting to see if Mike Maignan will be playing, because he actually got injured during AC Milan's Europa League second leg round of 16 clash against Slavia Prague, and had to be replaced by Marco Sportiello, his backup. Feeling his hamstring is the Manchester City defender, but he should be okay to continue. And Lucas Beraldo passing it forward. It is with Joao Gomes now. Vinicius Jr. Back to Lucas Beraldo. Over to Fabrizio Bruno, the other central defender. Back to his central defensive partner, Lucas Beraldo. Wendell. Joao Gomes. Back to Wendell. Guimares. Danilo. And Walker is back on the field, the England captain. Guimares passing it back to Danilo. And Raphinha trying to find Vinicius Jr. And it's beautifully laid back for Vinicius Jr. And there are claims for a penalty, but Arthur Diaz saying, no, that was too soft. Get up and get playing. And this is good work now from Brazil, because obviously they're starting to find a lot of short passes of their own. And Vinicius Jr. is looking very dangerous indeed. Great work from the Real Madrid winger. And Obviously, Vinny claiming a penalty, but that in reality was a soft push there from Kyle Walker. You wouldn't see too many of those being given, to be frank. And Brazil continuing their attack with Paqueta. And it is in the penalty area. I think that was Rodrygo who had the final shot, but he ended up dragging it wide. Well, after a promising start for England, they're now under the cosh. Paqueta looking dangerous, as is Vinicius Jr. and Raphinha also coming in. And Guimares also performing his role as the midfield enforcer to perfection. But Paqueta also coming into his own stride. Maguire, Chilwell. And sent tumbling by Raphinha, and that will be an England free kick. And that is Stones who has the ball, passing it to Gallagher, back to Stones. Chipping it forward, hoping to find Bellingham, which he does. Bellingham chests it down to Declan Rice. One of only 2 Arsenal players in the squad now after the refusal, the arrogant refusal of Ben White to agree to being selected. And the withdrawal of Bukayo Saka. Oh, Watkins in the penalty area! And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. As with Lawrence Shankland against the Netherlands, Watkins had a gilt-edged opportunity. You've got to hit the target from there. Great work from Bellingham down the left. Gallagher also combining in. Terrific pass. Watkins evading Lucas Beraldo, but just not being able to get the shot on target. I think, though, that maybe Fabrizio Bruno came back in and put some pressure on him, kicking the ball onto his shin, and that sent it over. But still, Watkins will probably look back on that and say, maybe I could have done better. And now it's this looks like a wonderful end-to-end game now. 3 attempts for Brazil, 2 for England so far. And there is nothing really to separate these teams at the moment. Maybe it's the lack of clinicality for both teams. Guimares, intercepted by Chilwell. Declan Rice, back to John Stones. Back to Jordan Pickford, and I'm not too sure why play has been stopped over there, because that was a rather hacked sort of clearance there. And Walker seems to be in some discomfort. It looks as though the England captain will have to go off. I think he felt his hamstring earlier on in the game, and he clearly can't continue. So he hands the captain's armband to Manchester United's Harry Maguire. And it will be the number 12, Ezri Konsa, who makes his debut against Brazil. Ezri Konsa, of course, the Aston Villa centre-back, who occasionally, in fact more often than desired, plays at right-back for Aston Villa, but clearly doesn't look at his best at right-back. And it is Poland's Matthew Cash who normally plays that role for Aston Villa. Diego Konsa now expected to slot in at right back, which is a bit of a surprise, really. One would have thought that Joe Gomes would have made his debut there, or could Gomes possibly come on for Ben Chilwell later on in the game? Stones. Gallagher back to Pickford. Stones let it go to his goalkeeper. And Pickford rolling it out to Gallagher. Under pressure from Guimares there, but eventually finds Ezri Konsa. And Konsa's first touch is to pass it back to John Stones, who finds Declan Rice, passing it back to Konsa, and Konsa lays it off for Declan Rice, who takes the ball forward down the wing, finding Bellingham. Wonderful stuff for England so far. Gallagher with the ball, finding Chilwell on the left. And that's Gordon, who ends up running the ball back, but controls it well enough to keep it with him. Gallagher, Gordon, Stones, Gallagher, Rice, Bellingham, and Gordon's on his own on the left. Up against Joao Gomes. And passes it back to Declan Rice. And this is good play from England so far, but not the best pass over there. And that is easily intercepted by Wendell. But Vinicius Jr. has to come back and defend, and that will be a free kick for a foul on Conor Gallagher. And you can see, just another reminder, if you are new to this channel, do like the video, subscribe if you are new. We would love to have you on. Well, it'll be interesting to see who takes this free kick. It will be Phil Foden again. Maybe he'll get some bend on this one this time. Flighted beautifully. Chested down by Declan Rice. And not too sure what Rice was hoping to do there. I mean, that was very well covered. Danilo there stepping up. But Gordon in the penalty area. Pickpocketed by Joao Gomes. And Brazil are trying to go forward, but the passing isn't the best. Gordon now, and a needless challenge there by Paqueta. Certainly not vicious or violent, but careless more than anything else. Sending the England number 11 to the floor. And that'll be another England free kick. Newcastle fans, of course, very eager to see how both Gordon and Guimares do tonight. They would have expected Trippier to be in the squad, but sadly, he is, of course, injured. And I have said, of course, having seen Aston Villa play on many occasions, that Ezri Konsa is not comfortable as a right back. He's much better as a central defender. But obviously, the England captain going off means that Konsa has to come on. I'd sooner have seen Joe Gomez there, but maybe he'll come on for Ben Chilwell. And if there's one thing I despise, is the side of the right-footed player at left back. Rice and Chilwell standing over this. Could it be Chilwell to take this? Or will it be Declan Rice, who's pretty adept with his right foot? It is Chilwell who flights it in. And it was Harry Maguire who got ahead to that. Claiming a corner, but the referee says no. Gordon coming back on side. I think, well, actually, it is a corner. Looks as though it came off Danilo. So England with a chance here. First corner of the game. Phil Foden to send it in, left-footed. Beautifully flighted. But after a pretty calming defensive header, that was not the best shot from Ben Chilwell. High and ugly. That's the sort of kick which is able to put any goalkeeper under pressure, let alone a debutant goalkeeper in the form of Bento Krepski. And this shot here from Rice. He was not going to score from there, obviously, but Danilo was on hand to block that. And Brazil now win a throw, and Danilo is acquitting himself quite well at right back so far. Was given a bit of a runaround by Anthony Gordon earlier, but he settled in quite magnificently. Danilo, of course, the Juventus right back. Danilo finding Paqueta, Joao Gomez, and Rice taking advantage of some pretty poor play. Gallagher sent to the ground, but the referee playing advantage. Foden finding Bellingham. Bellingham now with the ball. Bellingham laying it off for Gallagher. Watkins is still in the penalty area. He wants a pass to him. Rice. Chilwell. Gordon. 25 minutes already gone. Still England 0, Brazil 0. Will that change in the next few seconds? Rice receiving the ball from Stones. Gordon. Back to Rice. And finds Ezri Konsa, the substitute on the right. Bellingham. Back to Konsa, who seems to be taking no real risks. Very calm and composed. Bellingham now on the right. Bellingham up against Vinny Jr. and a little coy smile there as he takes the ball away from his Real Madrid teammate. Stones to Bellingham. Sending it forward, hoping to find Phil Foden. And Foden reacts magnificently and passes it back to Bellingham. Rice. Foden. Bellingham into the penalty area, but nobody there. And Foden is sent to the floor, but Arthur Diaz not interested in that and doesn't look as though England will get anything out of it. But Foden is still on the floor, so play might have to be stopped for the moment. At this moment, though, Vinicius Jr. finding eventually Raphinha after receiving a pass from Paqueta. Raphinha sent to the floor, but no foul. And England can continue to play. I think Foden must have already got up by now. And Watkins is on his own, up against Fabrizio Bruno. And eventually it's Gordon who gets the ball. Bellingham. Gordon. Gordon with the shot. And deflected behind for a corner off the number 14, Fabrizio Bruno. So this is much better as far as England are concerned. Trying to get back the initiative that was taken away from them earlier on. Came off Fabrizio Bruno's shoulder. And taking a look at this foul, there is a VAR on duty, but there wasn't really a foul. Foden was just sent tumbling, but no penalty. England do, however, have a corner. They're second of the game. And the second corner overall. Foden once again, left-footed. Flighted, swinging in. And Chilwell now has a chance to shoot, but he ends up hitting it into the ground. It goes above everyone and wide for a goal kick. And Watkins, of course, trying to get the ball. And normally, in Aston Villa, it would be a Douglas Luiz corner, met on the head by Watkins for a goal. But this time, Douglas Luiz is on the bench, and he's playing for the opposite team. Bento Krepski taking his time over the ball and opts to pass it to Wendell. Wendell had an easy time of it against Bukayo Saka, but he's now found Foden to be a different kettle of fish altogether. Stones. And that will be, I believe Stones was sent tumbling, so that could very well be, well, it's not a free kick. It is, in fact, a throw. England do have the territorial advantage. Well, actually, the ball's been brought back onto the field. I think Joao Gomes, on his debut, has been a little bit too aggressive with his tackles. Konsa. Rice. Stones. Back to Konsa. Stones. Chilwell. Gordon. Evading two Brazilian outfielders and finding Rice, who finds Bellingham. He's got Foden on the right, and he finds Foden. And Foden cutting in, going past Wendell, finding Bellingham. And Bellingham sent to the floor, and that will be a free kick. And yet another foul by Joao Gomes, who seems to be not quite able to get a real foothold on the game. He certainly managed to get a foothold on the opposing player's legs. That's for sure. And this time it's Foden and Rice who are standing over the free kick. It is Rice who takes it, flighting it in, but that is easily headed out of danger. And Guimares has to be the first to the ball, and he can't make it. So the ball is now back with Konsa. Passing it back tamely to Jordan Pickford as we've just crossed half an hour at Wembley Stadium. It is still England 0, Brazil 0. And what started off as a very promising end-to-end game has now become a little bit cagey. Krepski with the ball now. And he opts to send it long. Hoping to find Raphinha, but Chilwell gets it first with his head. Stone sending it further away, and Danilo being barged off there by Gordon. And Watkins ends up getting the ball, finding Gordon on the left. Watkins now about to run into the penalty area. Gets into the penalty area magnificently, lays it off. but the Brazil defense holds firm. And Paqueta fouled by Gordon as he tries to get it away, and that will be a Brazil free kick. But great work there by Watkins and Gordon. Wonderful interplay between the two. And the defense, however, coming to the rescue. Wendell pretty much snuffing out any potential attacking threat. Krepsky to Lucas Beraldo, who finds Rodrygo. Guimares. Vinicius Jr. now on the left. And great play by Vinicius Jr. Now up against Konsa. And he's skinning everyone there, but Konsa holding firm and preventing Vinicius Jr. from going further. Well played by the Aston Villa defender, but you see why Vinicius Jr. is so highly rated. On the left, he is an absolute live wire. Maguire to Chilwell now. Chilwell back to Pickford. Pickford sending it. Not long at all. Still in the England half. And Raphinha ends up getting the ball, passing it to Paqueta, who finds Rodrygo. Vinicius Jr. back to Robinho. I'm not sure Robinho will try and shoot from there, but he lays it back to Paqueta, who finds Robinho. And a beautiful passage of play there where Paqueta chipped it forward, hoping to find Rodrygo. I confused him with Robinho there. I should apologize. But Rodrygo there, the Real Madrid forward, who's not getting too much game time these days, unable to find the connection. I'm not too sure if that would have been offside, but maybe with Vinicius Jr. not interfering with play, that could have been a chance for a goal. And Foden is fouled there by Wendell, I believe, and that will be an England free kick. Yep, it is Wendell, who's clearly finding Phil Foden to be a different kettle of fish from Bukayo Saka. Stones, who certainly does not have stones in his feet. He's moving very well and is sent to the floor, and that will be another England free kick. And this time, Brazil has a name in the book. It is West Ham's Lucas Paqueta. And a shout out, of course, to my good friend, Miss Molina, who is hosting a watch-along between Canada and Trinidad and Tobago. The winner of that match will, of course, qualify for the Copa Americas. So if CONCACAF football is your thing, you are welcome to show Molina and the channel some love and just say hello. For the moment, though, if you are in my company, you are watching England versus Brazil, and Raphinha is sent forward on the right by Vinicius Jr. Quite brilliant play there. It is back with Vinicius Jr., and Paqueta now has a chance for a shot. Ends up being a misplaced pass. Still bedlam in the England penalty area. Paqueta now off the post, and somehow Brazil do not score. Back with Raphinha now. England completely rattled. Danilo. It's blink and you miss it stuff here at Wembley Stadium. You cannot take your eyes off the stream. Fabrizio Bruno to Joao Gomes. Danilo now. Paqueta. Raphinha. And that was Guimares, I believe, who now back with Guimares, who passes it to Danilo. And Fabrizio Bruno ends up getting the ball back, and Paqueta will be wondering just how he didn't score. It's opening up here as we cross the 35-minute mark at Wembley Stadium. England 0, Brazil 0. Some great chances by both teams. Krepsky hasn't been forced to make a save, but England had a lot of the possession. Brazil, however, have had a shot on target and, of course, very nearly scored. So we're going to take a look at this, really. I mean, Pickford sent the wrong way. Paqueta trying to side foot it. Vinicius Jr. moving away there. And, ooh, it needed to be a little bit more to the right. Chilwell. Back to Maguire. Rice. Back to Maguire. Rice. Chilwell on the left. In towards Watkins, who passes it to Gordon. Gallagher. Foden. Into the penalty area. Interesting pass. That laid off for Gordon, but his shot is blocked by a Brazil defender, and that will be another England corner. End-to-end stuff here at Wembley Stadium, and it is wonderful that I am watching this and that we are bringing this to you. Foden, a short corner this time to Gallagher. Back to Foden, laying it off for Chilwell, who lays it off for Foden, and it's a comparative P-roller through to Bento Krepski. Yeah, not really going to trouble the Permanente keeper there. Rodrygo, Wendell, Guimares against Rice. Could very easily be West Ham against Arsenal here, and that is probably where the battle could be. West Ham and Arsenal have had some titanic battles this season. West Ham do have a record of played 3, 1-2, lost 1, but West Ham's defeat was, of course, that infamous 0-6 at the London Stadium in the Premiership not too long back. Declan Rice having a happier return to West Ham since leaving as the Conference League winning captain. Throw in for England. And it looks as though it will be Konsa who's taking it. Yep. There's number 12, Ezri Konsa, given a big role to play, and so far he has acquitted himself very well indeed. Gallagher. And Joao Gomes wins a throw off the Chelsea captain. It will be Wendell, the Porto left back. Lucas Beraldo sending it forward, only finding Konsa, who ends up laying it off to Gallagher, but that goes out for an England throw, quite deep near the touchline. The goal line, I should say. Harry Kane, of course, withdrawing from the squad. Still, of course, with the team, and he should be fit enough to play against Belgium on Tuesday. We will, of course, find out. Rice. Chilwell. Gordon. That's Chilwell. Rice in the middle, who sends it off to Foden on the right, hoping to find Foden, but an excellent intercepting header there from Wendell. But Foden does get the ball, and Foden is sent tumbling, and that will be an England free kick. And 6 minutes to go, of course, until the end of the first half. Might be some stoppages, I think, given Walker's injury. About 3 minutes, maybe. And Rice had to be careful there because Vinicius was snapping at his heels. Stones. Konsa. Bellingham. And another England free kick and another Brazil foul. Most of these Brazil fouls are a little bit soft. Certainly not the free-flowing team that they claim to be of years gone by. I wouldn't say they've been cooked. They've been hit on the counter. And obviously Walker going off has meant Ezri Konsa's had a baptism of fire on his debut. But so far, England have had more of the possession. Brazil have hit England very well on the counter, and we have crossed the 40-minute threshold. So it is still goalless, and there will be 5 minutes left until the end of normal time, and at least 3 minutes of stoppages, one would imagine. Rice. Gordon. Gordon with a shot. Saved by Krepski, pushing it away to his left where Wendell can pick it up. And that is, of course, the type of save you want. You want to make sure you push it to the side, well away from any on-rushing attacker. Do not push it back into the penalty area. Otherwise, anyone in the penalty area gobbles it up. 1-0. So good stuff there from Krepski, who is, in fact, at 24, the youngest goalkeeper in the squad. The other two reserve goalkeepers are Brazil's Number 12, Rafael Pires Montero. Number 34, that is. And the number 23, Leo Jardim. And Maguire having to clean up, but not doing very well. And an important save from Jordan Pickford. Urging calm. Raphinha doing brilliantly to pick Harry Maguire's pocket. And as I've said, it is blink and you miss it stuff. A pass over there from Brazil. And Chilwell pretty much sent one way. And Raphinha doing really well to pick Maguire's pocket and get a shot in. Actually, that didn't really go off Pickford's glove there. It might have just gone wide because a goal kick was given. But Harry Maguire there looking like Lizzie Maguire at that moment. And confirmed that Pickford was not able to get a hand on that. Maguire holding up his hand in apologies. And Pickford saying, calm down, mate, calm down. Rafael Pires Montero is in fact 34, playing for Sao Paulo, and Leo Jardim is 29 years old, playing for Vasco da Gama. So those are the other two goalkeepers, but it's the youngest goalkeeper, Krepski, who is playing tonight at Wembley Stadium. And all three of those goalkeepers are on 0 caps. As we see England winning another free kick. Certainly another Foden special. Not too sure that Rice would be favoured here to try to either blast it or maybe send it more powerfully with his right foot. Or could it be Rice, though? It is Rice. Into the penalty area. And Raphinha hacks that away, and that will be yet another corner. But this time from the opposite side. So instead of Phil Foden, it will be Declan Rice hoping to swing it in with his right foot. Dorival Jr. looking on. He knows his team should be 1-0 up by now. Very happy with the way his team have played on the counter, but not very happy with how England have been allowed to find more and more space. Declan Rice, right-footed, in-swinger. Oh, and some action there, and another corner is signalled. Well, that was yet again another fine corner kick, which had the Brazil defense in 6s and 7s. Eventually, they're able to defend it, but not very successfully, because now Foden has a chance to take another corner. Left-footed in-swinger from that very area. Sent into the penalty area, punched away by Krepski. Only as far as Gallagher, who inexplicably concedes a throw. I think he was hoping to find Foden with a pass, but that pass was completely wayward. And Maguire jumping for it and missing it. And eventually it was Guimares who hacked it away from Foden. I think he was claiming that it went off Foden's chest, so it should have been a goal kick. But in the end, a corner was given. Last 20 seconds of the half, I should say. Declan Rice now bombing forward. Jude Bellingham. It is with Declan Rice, but a good recovery tackle. And eventually Brazil are able to stop England from going too far forward. And now Rodrygo has to try to send it forward. Fine back heel there, finding Guimares. Guimares finding Danilo, who chooses this moment to overlap. Danilo to Vinicius Jr. Danilo back to Guimares. Paqueta. Guimares, back to Paqueta, but forward to Guimares, I should say. Guimares hoping to find Danilo in the penalty area, but that pass was a bit too close to Jordan Pickford, and he rolls it out, and England can continue on the attack. And there are 2 minutes of time that are being added on. Chilwell now. Not too sure what Chilwell was trying to do. Hoping to cross it, but instead slicing it horribly over the bar, getting it completely wrong. England missed Luke Shaw. I know that we've got Chelsea. We do seem to have an Ollie raid. We've got Joe Tier in the building here from Ollie Sinclair's stream. Big up to DJ Sinclair, of course, who is doing a a watch along for this match. And thanks a lot for sending people over. Joe, good to have you on board, mate. I'm glad you said Ollie Raid and not Ollie Reed. Krepsky sending it forward. And that is easily dealt with by England. And Anthony Gordon now has to try to run back, though. Ends up passing it all the way back to Pickford, who now has, looks as though Raphinha was snapping at his heels, but Pickford read the situation perfectly. Bellingham now with the ball as we come up to the last 30 seconds of stoppage time. Gordon, can England score just before the half? Rice goes through Bellingham to Gordon. And that goes off Guimares' head. And an offside flag will pretty much put an end to proceedings. And the referee does, in fact, blow... has he blown the whistle? Well, he might as well, because I think the seconds are about to elapse anyway. Yep, he has, in fact, blown the whistle. And at half-time at Wembley Stadium, it is England 0, Brazil 0. England starting the half quite brightly with a great deal of possession. Ollie Watkins possibly having England's best chance, but not quite able to hit the target. Vinicius Jr. having a wonderful chance to actually put... Not Vinicius Jr., Paqueta having a chance to put Brazil ahead, but hitting the post. Vinicius Jr. on his own, but just didn't have enough power in a shot to get it past Jordan Pickford into the goal. And so at half-time, in a very pulsating game, which has not been cagey at all, it is England 0, Brazil 0, and time to catch my breath and say, what a game. What a game to be watching, what a game to be bringing to you on the corner. And hopefully we've got some, I don't know if we have any people watching live right now, but I do hope that we can have more and more people coming on in. And I am, of course, now going to try and take you through some updates of some results that have happened earlier. Yes, and of course, I will confirm that the Republic of Ireland, the Republic of Ireland did, in fact, hold Belgium to a goalless draw. Evan Ferguson, not Callum Ferguson. Evan Ferguson missing an early penalty for the Republic. His tame spot kick saved by Nottingham Forest and Belgium goalkeeper Matt Sells, who, of course, used to play for Newcastle as well. And Queeman Kelleher also pulling off a fine save to deny Thomas Meunier from close range. And the Republic will now turn their attentions to their friendly against Switzerland on Tuesday. And, of course, my good friend David Cole, better known as the old school gunner, not exactly divided loyalties, proud Irishman from Cork, but currently living in Switzerland. So a penny for his thoughts. I know he was doing a watch-along for the Ireland-Belgium game earlier on today, so I'm sure he will have had some really good responses there. And Sam Smodic of Blackburn Rovers made his international debut, along with Ferguson and Chidozie Ogbene, who happens to play for Stepsies Luton Town. And in other games, Argentina beating El Salvador 3-0, Peru beating Nicaragua 2-0. I can tell you that there is one game currently going on at the same time. It is Denmark against Switzerland. And that game is, of course, currently goalless right now as we are in... I think it's half-time there already. So it is, in fact, goalless at half-time there too. Slovakia losing 2-0 to Australia. Not a good result for the Slovakian team. Obviously hoping to try to tune up their squad as they prepare to play in the Euros as well. Christoph Baumgartner and Andreas Weissman with the goals. And several Premiership stars playing tonight, of course, in that game. Not a good night for Slovakia, but Austria, coached by former interim Manchester United boss Ralf Rangnick, doing very well indeed. Baumgartner, of course, scoring as early as the first minute, and Weimann bookmarking things with an 82nd minute goal at the end. In another friendly, Ivory Coast, the African Cup of Nations winners, being held 2-2 by Benin. And later on, of course, at 8 o'clock UK time, in fact, barely 10 minutes from now, France will be playing Germany at the Stade Lyonnais. And we will provide you updates from that game. And another friendly between the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia and World Cup semi-finalists and Nations League runners-up Croatia. But what a game that was. What a game this has been so far. And I am really going to need to catch my breath. And one thing I will say is that Ezri Konsa, who came on at right back in place of Kyle Walker, who got injured, has looked really good so far. And this is actually the sort of game which Ben White would have been expected to play in, and he would have played in had he accepted the call up. Now, we're getting some more information from sources like The Athletic, basically saying that there was a bit of a tiff between him and Steve Holland, one of the assistant coaches. Apparently, Holland gave him a little bit of I wouldn't say a dressing down, but a little bit of a ticking off over the fact that White doesn't really have that much passion for football and likes to unwind at the end of the day. And White took exception to that and ended up asking to leave the squad for personal reasons. Now, I'm the type of person who believes that when it comes to playing for your country, nothing really should get in the way of it. And, sticks and stones can break your bones, but names and barbs should never really hurt you. And this whole issue was nothing really that Ben White and Steve Holland and Gareth Southgate wouldn't have solved if they all got to get down together and had a little bit of a heart-to-heart. Instead, White chose to, throw a strop and say, I don't want to play for England as long as you and Steve are on the coaching staff. And apparently, Southgate also didn't do any favours by effectively denying everything and saying he has no idea why White would refuse. Of course, at the time of the World Cup, there were several right-backs ahead of Ben White in the pecking order, but several of those right-backs, of course, are now injured, the likes of Kieran Trippier, the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, the likes of Reece James. So this could have been an opportunity for White to, stake a claim for himself. Instead, he opted to say no, and he won't be going to the Euros. And it's really another example of how, quite frankly, your attitude will determine your altitude. If you put your ego ahead of the nation, ahead of a cause that's bigger than you, then I'm sorry, but you don't deserve any real respect. And I'm not about to offer him any real respect simply because he's a gunner. I will support him as a player, and I hope that he will put this stuff behind him and do well for Arsenal. But he will be a marked man, believe you me. Eugene, hello to you again. And I'm a bit surprised that you are up now. Of course, I know it is Ramadan. And of course, later on, you will be having your final meal before you resume your fast. I don't know if you're watching the game now, but if you would like to come on and have a chat with me, and if you are watching the game, I'd love to send you the link and you can pop right on. But thanks a lot for your support. Appreciate it, sir. And if I knew how to do a poll, I probably would try and find out how to, do it and then see if I can get a response from people as to whether Ben White did the right thing by demanding, as it were, not to be picked by England. And with Ezri Konsa coming on for his debut and acquitting himself well, I think Benny Blanco, as we call him, of course, will go on to regret it. And I'm also going to say to all those people who saw it fit to criticize Ben White in Qatar at the time, but are now hailing him for telling Southgate where to go, You absolute hypocrites. Wind your necks in. You know who you are. I'm not going to name names here because I don't need to provide any kind of controversy for this channel. And of course, we should be actually starting kickoff over at the Parc Olympique Lyonnais, not the Stade Lyonnais, of course. And in fact, there is a minute's silence being held right now as we speak for the passing of two German legends, Franz Beckenbauer and Andreas Bremer, who, of course, were involved heavily in Germany's win in the 1990 World Cup. Andreas Bremer, of course, scoring the winning penalty and several other goals, including the free kick against England in the semi-final and also the game winner against Holland in the second round. And Beckenbauer, of course, who managed the team in 1990 and also won the tournament in 1974 as captain of Germany. Germany, of course, being managed by Julian Nagelsmann after the sacking of Hansi Flick. And it is confirmed that Mike Maignan is not in the France net tonight. I don't think he has recovered in time for from that injury. So it will be Brice Samba of Lens who is playing. And of course, Arsenal fans will remember Lens and Brice Samba from the Champions League group stages. Yep, having your Sahar meal, and we'll join when you're done. Already sent you on WhatsApp. Take a look. Take your time. Whoops, actually, I haven't sent it. Thought I did, but I didn't. And we are still watching highlights on the other channel where England are playing of other games. I do believe this is the Europa League stuff where... And shock update, Germany have in fact taken the lead in the first 20 seconds of the game. And I'm going to just give you highlights from this. Almost immediately from the kickoff, a long pass forward. And the France defense going to sleep completely. A shot from outside the area. And Brice Samba couldn't even move. Florian Wirtz, the number 17, in off the underside of the bar. And Die Mannschaft are leading Les Bleus 1-0. And you can see how much it means to the young coach, Nagelsmann. So, Les Bleus have been stunned. How do they respond? Well, I'm not going to be able to see that to tell you because we are heading back to Wembley Stadium very soon. And by the way, not bothered with boring England, still 0-0 anyway. Tony on the bench, Watkins starting, had a chance which he missed. And Brazil, of course, not the same team now, but there's a reason. Several of their stars are, in fact, injured. And they did have a period where they were struggling to actually find a coach, eventually settling with Dorival Jr. A much changed France team. I can tell you that it is Julius Koundé playing at right back, Lucas Hernandez at left back, Benjamin Pavard and Dayot Upamecano as the centre-backs. Zaire-Emery and Rabiot are the wide midfielders, with Tchouaméni in the middle. Dembele, Marcus Thuram, and Kylian Mbappe are the front line. And it is Mark ter Stegen wearing the number 22 jersey, surprisingly. I wonder if it means that Neuer might be back in the squad. I'm not too sure. Joshua Kimmich, Jonathan Tah, Antony, Rudiger, and Mittelstadt are the back four. Andrich and Toni Kroos are the defensive midfielders. Jamal Musiala, Ilkay Gundogan, and the goalscorer Florian Wirtz are the three-man midfield. And Germany now on the attack again, and France's defence has to get its act together. And Arsenal's very own Kai Havertz on his own up front. Funnily enough, Maignan is in the squad. Maybe he has recovered, but probably not considered to start. Bernd Leno in the German squad too. Doing well for Fulham there. Let me see if we're back at Wembley. Still not back at Wembley yet. As soon as we're back, we will in fact inform you. And it is time for me to grab a little bite to eat. Chopsticks. And we are back at Wembley Stadium. And they've just kicked off, in fact. England have just kicked off. And not a moment too soon. I got two back. So I'm going to sort of bring the banner back right now in a minute. England now having the ball and sort of needless foul on Rodrygo there by Gallagher. Not what England needed. Sort of ceding momentum there. And 45 seconds in, we do have a bit of a delay as Rodrygo tries to compose himself, as it were. And Brazil can try and bring the ball. It is, of course, Fabrizio Bruno who passes it to his captain Danilo. Back with Fabrizio Bruno. Passing it back to Krepski. And Lucas... England now have the ball, of course. Gallagher trying to pass it back to Foden, but intercepted by Joao Gomes. And England concede another free kick. And they can move forward now through with Rodrygo, who finds Vinicius Jr. Guimares, Paqueta, who had that glorious opportunity that came off the post in the first half. Guimares, Wendell. Lucas Beraldo. Across to Fabrizio Bruno, who sends it forward. Hoping to find Raphinha, which he does. Raphinha being held back there by Chilwell. And no substitutions made at half-time. Both teams, of course, having a booking each. Guimares sending it forward to Raphinha on the right. Up against Chilwell. Raphinha sending into the penalty area, but too close to Pickford. Easy catch for the Everton goalkeeper. And thrown right out to Anthony Gordon, who runs down the wing. He's got Bellingham right beside him. Bellingham receives the ball. Gordon going forward. Gordon sent to the floor there, but Bellingham still able to get the ball into the penalty area. And Brazil, in fact, concede a corner, courtesy of Wendell. So Foden there with the number 47 tattooed on the side of his neck. That is, of course, his jersey number for Manchester City. Another left-footed corner from him, in swinging. And that's headed high in the air, and Krepsky is unable to get a hold of that. But eventually the defense comes to his aid. And I think Krepsky is not really at his best when it comes to high balls. And that is a weakness that England might look to try and exploit more and more frequently whenever they get a chance to take corners and free kicks. So clearly the directive is clear. Flight them in high, put the goalkeeper under pressure, and then see what happens. And we see Paqueta there conceding a needless free kick with a foul on Stones. Beautifully flighted corner. And it is Declan Rice to take this free kick. Maguire hoping to get on the end of that. It is Gordon. Pushed away by Krepsky. Gordon actually tried to get it towards the goal. I'm not too sure the shot had any venom. And Krepsky had to push it away from harm's way anyway. Guimares up against Gordon. Newcastle clash. And Danilo sends that out for a throw. And Gordon there with the short back and sides, as we would say in England. And that is, in fact, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the former Netherlands striker, who is one of Gareth Southgate's assistants. Might be coaching the strikers from the looks of it. The two obviously were good teammates at Middlesbrough when Southgate was still playing. And quite key in many ways. Maguire now. And Rodrygo making a bit of a nuisance of himself. Conceding a throw, though, to England, which will be taken by Chilwell. Back to Maguire. And England have suffered about 15 fouls, more than twice as many as Brazil have. So clearly Brazil have proven themselves to be very adept at, stopping England's rhythm. And so far, England have not been able to find that quality in the final third to really test Bento Krepsky. And as I speak, Gomes winning the ball, passing it to Guimares now. But Bellingham doing brilliantly to take it away from his other Real Madrid teammate, Rodrygo. But then having his pocket picked by a combination of Wendell and Paqueta. Guimares now sending it across the field. And that is received by Raphinha on the right, who passes it back to Danilo, the captain. And Guimares then passes it to, I believe that was Lucas Beraldo. And now it is with Rodrygo. Joao Gomes. Guimares. Raphinha. Danilo. And that is Lucas Beraldo, the number 25. Wendell. Joao Gomes back to Fabrizio Bruno. Wendell. And a foul there on certainly not Anthony Gordon, but definitely another player. And England have had the advantage played anyway. Watkins now to Bellingham. Watkins. Chilwell. Gordon. Bellingham back to Chilwell. Gordon now. Into the penalty area. I think he hoped to find Watkins, but the ball didn't have enough length, and Konsa hauls down Vinicius Jr., and that will be a Brazil free kick. And Chelsea fan with some comments, getting a goal. Not exactly 8 seconds in, but certainly taking a shock lead against France, one that was not all expected. Danilo. Back to Danilo. Fabrizio Bruno to Lucas Beraldo. And now it's Rodrygo on the left. Wendell, who's overlapped. Vinicius Jr. into the penalty area. No one on the end of that. And Chilwell's not taking any chances. And Brazil have their first corner of the game. Well, this is what happens when you go to sleep against this lot. Rodrygo, Vinicius Jr., and company are all proving to be very dangerous indeed. And it will be Raphinha taking the corner from where Foden used to take it. Left-footed in-swinger, hoping to get it in. Can he flight it in? Long, high, flighted in. Off Vinicius Jr.'s chest, but Gallagher is able to take the ball from him, but he ends up sending it out for a throw. Not really finding anyone there. In fact, that was Gallagher who was actually fouled in the build-up to that earlier England chance. Guimares sending it to the right, finding Raphinha. And he's got Chilwell at his heels and Gordon also double teaming him, and eventually loses out to Jude Bellingham, who wins a throw for England rather. Gordon. Bellingham. Guimares sticking to Bellingham like glue and conceding a throw. England now with the ball. Maguire. Chilwell. And Chilwell passing it all the way back to Pickford, who's come halfway up the field from out of his penalty area. Halfway in his own half, I should mention. Stones. Rice, who's come back to defend. Now, the thing about Rice coming back is that England can now play with what is almost effectively a back five. Konsa so far has held his own against Vinicius Jr., but Vinicius Jr. still managed to find a way through England's defence at times. Aston Villa's Konsa now with the throw. Foden trying to ride above people, but eventually losing out to Paqueta, who finds Guimares. Guimares hoping to find Raphinha, but excellent block there by Chilwell. And Raphinha is happy to let that go out for a corner, which he will take. And Brazil are now starting to look a lot more dangerous. Chilwell hasn't exactly been the best when it comes to shooting. Certainly not had his shooting boots on. But as a defender, he's done his duty. Brazil's second corner to England's 6 so far, 5 of which came in the first half. Raphinha, left-footed, hoping to swing it in. Out to Guimares. Raphinha sending it into the penalty area, hoping to find a teammate, but that is easily headed away there. I believe that was Watkins who got the header away. But Brazil still have the ball and are looking quite dangerous. And we could be having another raid from DJ Sinclairo's channel. Let's be having you. You're all welcome. Danilo. Fabrizio Bruno sending it long. Not able to find a teammate, and Bellingham now has it. And this could be trouble for Brazil with... Well, Gordon actually came up in support and now has the ball. And a little bit of a fancy dance moves there from Gordon, but not really able to retrieve the ball. Chilwell does get the ball, but ends up inexplicably side-footing that out for a throw. Jordan Henderson on the bench as well. Might play against Belgium. We'll have to see. And a rather miserable-looking Kyle Walker there. His participation in that game against Belgium could very well be in doubt. And Stepsy, I'm sure you might have been happy to see your boys Kaminski and Ogbene get on the field earlier tonight for the Republic of Ireland-Belgium game. And a shot taken there by John Stones. He might as well have had Stones in his feet because that was not on target. England certainly trying to find their way into the Brazil defence, certainly down the wing. And certainly the overlapping by Chilwell has proven very effective. Good defensive block there by Gomes, but the ball coming out to Stones. Had that been Bellingham, that would definitely have been on target. And the attempts are coming thick and fast. 21 attempts so far before the hour. So it hasn't exactly been a very cagey sort of game. And Gordon now finding Bellingham on the left. Bellingham sending it forward, but Danilo doing some good defensive work there, showing his experience and not allowing Gordon to get on the end of that. And we will be coming up to the hour in the next 30 seconds or so. Krebsky sending it forward and eventually finds Raphinha, sending it back to Paqueta, and that should be a Brazil throw, and it is. Gordon trying a bit too hard there. And we have just clocked an hour exactly at Wembley Stadium. It is still England 0, Brazil 0. And we see Alisson Becker there, normally Brazil's first choice goalkeeper, but been injured for quite some time, not even playing for Liverpool. And instead it was Caoimhin Kelleher who's been in the nets for the Reds. And of course, Kelleher played earlier tonight for the Republic of Ireland against Belgium, pulling off an important save in the second half, I might add, from the standing captain Thomas Meunier. And Gomes very nearly being sent through, but Pickford reading the danger and coming out immediately. And Bellingham there, hoping to catch the goalkeeper off his line, but the shot was too hard. I think need to get a little bit further away there from Fabrizio Bruno. And the Brazil defender there also making his debut tonight, doing a really good job of not allowing Bellingham much of a chance to have a clean shot on goal. That is sent forward, and Vinicius Jr. is sent tumbling by John Stones. I'm not too sure why. Well, I wasn't sure why Vinicius Jr. wasn't happy, but I think I know why. No free kick given. And so Gordon in the penalty area, going past Guimares, going past Raphinha, but not getting past Paqueta. And Guimares able to come away with the ball, trying to shake off his Newcastle teammate, and he does so quite magnificently. But the Arsenal midfielder, Declan Rice, comes to join the cavalry and concedes the throw for his pains. Raphinha now. And that will be another Brazil throw from the looks of it. And Vinicius Jr. there. I think he sort of had his head pulled back very harmlessly, falling to the ground like he was shot. And Arthur Diaz saying, no, son, get yourself up. And Brazil now can come ahead. Vinicius Jr. with the ball, trying to send it to Raphinha in the penalty area, not quite succeeding. Guimares, though, and that shot from Paqueta was definitely not far away. I'll tell you now, when this Brazil team are in full flow, they can definitely cause some problems. I think it's fair to say that the shot probably was a little bit too powerful there from Paqueta. Didn't really have the bend it needed from his left foot to go right into the top corner. And we do have a guest. Let me say salam at the tongue and assalamu alaikum to Lokman Yunus Nugent from Spurs Asia TV. Good morning to you, I should say. Are you watching the game,
Good
by the way?
morning. Yeah. I'm watching the game.
So what's your time right now?
It's about 4:23 a.m.
No, not that.
No, I mean
No
my
game.
time, the game.
Yeah.
I'm about 62, 31, 32, 33. Somewhere
Okay,
around
so
there.
you're about 40 seconds behind me. So as you
It's
might
okay.
understand, I normally do a little bit of commentating when it comes to these watch-alongs. You won't hear me, screaming and cussing, and not even when Ezri Konsa's fouled like that. Player advantage is played though. Gallagher sending it into the penalty area. Bellingham with the header, but that goes wide. And so, were you watching the game from the kickoff, or you must have had a break in between to have your meal?
Yeah, I was watching the game from kickoff. Then in halftime, I went and had my meal, and that's why I found. That's why I hopped on and say hi to you. Right, and of course, now I'm back on again. I've been following the game still, right? Trying my new setup for the watch-alongs that I'm going to do. So everything looks good, right? I've got the screen right in front of me, the laptop right in front of me, everything's right in front of me. So nowadays you don't see me looking like this anymore.
Yeah, well, obviously, you are no stranger to the channel. I think you've done a few streams with Hanno before, but it is good to have you back on here. And, a lot of it looks as though England are making some substitutions, and it is the number 14 and the number 16. We'll find out who they are. Lewis Dunk of Brighton and Hove Albion and Joe Gomes of Liverpool. And
defensive?
Looks that way, yes. I think it's fair to say that some of the defenders
Bellingham's
need a
got
bit
cracks or something like that, right? So he's on the floor. I saw him earlier.
Maybe. But at the moment, Brazil are on the attack. Rodrygo with the ball. The defenders are backing off. Finds Vinicius Jr. And not the best of passes there from Vinicius Jr. Needed more height to find a teammate. But Brazil still have the ball, although Guimares has sent that back. That is, of course, some Lucas Beraldo, who finds Guimares again. And Paqueta now sending it to Raphinha on the right. I do remember you lot were interested in Raphinha, and he has looked pretty good tonight.
Yeah, Raphinha looks good. Raphinha ex Leeds?
Yep.
Wolves? Leeds, right? Yeah.
Yep, Leeds, and currently with Barcelona. And
Joao Gomez.
Yeah. And Joao Gomez sent to the floor, but no free kick. That will be a free kick for England for a foul on Declan Rice. As far as Spurs are concerned, Maddison and Richarlison are both on the bench. And
yeah, that's good.
No Spurs players in the lineup tonight.
Keep them there, right?
Okay.
You've got an advantage, right? Kyle Walker's limped off with hamstring pull or something like that. So
yeah, but we'll see. We'll see, though. I think he might miss the Belgium game, but he should be fit for the 31st. We'll see. And it's a treble substitution, so I can tell you that Jude Bellingham will be coming off for West Ham United's Jared Bowen. I wouldn't say a frustrating night for him, but he hasn't exactly been influential. And maybe the West Ham starlet will get his chance to shine. In other areas, Ben Chilwell, as expected, will be coming off for the right-footed Joe Gomes. I despise the sight of a right-footed guy playing left back. And who is Lewis Dunk replacing? The England captain, Harry Maguire. So who gets the armband?
I don't know. Chilwell? Is Chilwell going to get replaced?
Chilwell's off.
Chilwell's off. Bellingham is off.
It could be Pickford, maybe, who gets the captaincy as the senior most player.
I guess so. Yeah, I could Pickford. Have you been impressed with Bowen? No.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Ezri Konsa coming on has not looked too bad. Fouled there by Joao Gomez of Wolves. And of course, these two sides, Aston Villa and Wolves, will be playing on the same day as you lot are going to be playing Luton Town. So a lot to play for, I would say. Gallagher now passing it back to Pickford, who, as expected, does in fact have the captain's armband. Lewis Dunk back to Pickford. Pickford chipping it, hoping to find Gallagher, who flicks it on with his head, but Lucas Beraldo intercepts that brilliantly, and Fabrizio Bruno passing it back to Danilo, who sends it across the field to Wendell. And a handball there by Bowen Shawley, and Arthur Diaz says yes. So I was actually talking in the build-up, Eugen, about how this Brazil team are obviously, through no other options really, forced to field some debutants. In fact, they've got about 4 debutants in the starting 11 tonight, and they struggle to find a coach. But it's disconcerting how good they've looked on the counter-attack against us.
Yeah, I know. Somehow or another, I think Brazil looks a bit more threatening at this game, right? So at this moment in time, let's see what England can do. It's a friendly match, right? I don't think they'll all be going to... I think the first half was a bit rough, right? The players were going into each other. I think they speeded off a bit, so I think they just remembered it's just a friendly, guys. But England has been patchy. Brazil has been quite fluid when they are attacking. So let's see how that goes.
And the fluency of Brazil, as you've mentioned, has been a bit of a worry for us now, because every time they get the ball, we seem to be just willing to back off and allow them to try and have a shot on goal. They hit the post in the first half, mind you.
Yeah, I know. And I saw that too. Yeah, Paqueta.
Constant now sending it through it, but and should that be a penalty? Arthur Diaz says no. There is VAR on duty tonight, but I think Gallagher, with his reaction, knows that he was not going to get a penalty that way. And in fact, there was no real contact between. I think it was. I'll tell you what, their knees did clash. We've seen some of those given, but maybe Diaz deciding that wasn't really something worthy of, anything more than allowing play to continue. And we've got a double substitution now for Brazil. Lucas Paqueta coming off to be replaced by...
Richarlison coming on?
No, it's the Fulham midfielder Andres Pereira who's coming on in place of him. Oh. And as far as...
Pereira, he's good, Go on,
I know how good he is, and you should know how good he is after that 3-0 shellacking at Craven Cottage. I had to mention that. I'm sorry. Yeah, and it's Rodrygo who's coming off to be replaced by the number 21, Endrick Moreira de Souza. So
Endrick is coming on. He's a young boy.
Yep, quite talented too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess this is a new Dorival. He's a new coach or manager for Brazil. So I guess Brazil is going through a major rebuild. They've been shitty for the past few years.
I wouldn't say the past few years, but they are currently on a bad run where they haven't been doing well in their World Cup qualifying group, among others. Several of their first teamers are now injured, including both of their first choice goalkeepers, Allison and Edison. So it's a new guy, Krepsky, who's in goal tonight. In fact, all 3 goalkeepers in the squad are basically capless. And we've actually crossed 71 minutes into the game, 19 minutes to go, plus any stoppages, perhaps. And I was saying repeatedly in commentary that Wendell, the Brazilian left-back, was the same guy that had Bukayo Saka in his pocket when we played them in the groups in the second round of the Champions League. Fortunately for us, it was penalties that saved us and got us through. Fortune there for Anthony Gordon. He sends, I believe that's Ollie Watkins in the penalty area. Dithering, though, sending it through, but unable to find the teammate. And eventually, Joao Gomes gets the ball and can clear England's lines. And
Watkins had a good chance in the first half, right? And he didn't take it, so...
He did, but I think credit there should go to Fabrizio Bruno for pressuring him, really. He sort of kicked it onto Watkins' shin and ended up ballooning over the bar. But a striker in his form would back himself to do a lot better there, really. And Joao Gomes finding Danilo, who sends it forward to Raphinha on the wing. And we already see Andres Pereira moving forward. And great initiative there by Raphinha, who picks Dunk's pocket, but is blocked by Dunk with the shot on goal. It is, however, back with Wendell, who sends it through to Vinicius Jr. on the left. Vinicius Jr. up against Ezri Konsa. Sending into the penalty area, unable to find a teammate. Joao Gomes. Can he take a shot? No, he doesn't. He sends it back out to Vinicius Jr., who takes an unfortunate slip, and that will be an England throw.
Yeah. And where's Hanno?
Now, Hanno has gone to sleep.
He's in South Africa, right, Hanno? Shouldn't he be behind you?
He is, but maybe he feels tired. I think he had plans to watch some rugby tonight. Didn't ended up feeling tired and decided, you know what, to heck with it, I'm not going to do it. And more substitutions for England as we see the 19 and 21 coming on. 19, of course, being Marcus Rashford, and the 21 being the United young talent Kobbie Mainoo. England winning a throw there with Guimares dispossessing Jared Bowen. Actually, Bowen showing some really good enterprise there, going through everyone. Going through Beraldo. Beraldo sort of cutting through everyone like a knife through butter, really, but Guimares eventually winning the throw off him. Concept.
Okay, the two Manchester United boys coming on.
And that should be the referee waves play on. I think Brazil have started to once again look for fouls in places where they wouldn't get them, and I think there will be a substitution now being made. And it looks as though it will be Conor Gallagher coming off to be replaced by Mainoo. Gallagher has put in a bit of a shift tonight in the absence of both Jordan Henderson and Calvin Phillips. Phillips not even in the squad, of course. And
Henderson will be there.
It could very well be Ollie Watkins who comes off to be replaced by Marcus Rashford. We will see. Because if there's one thing that Gareth Southgate will never do, it will be playing two strikers up front, unless it is in fact Anthony Gordon who comes off, which it is, and Marcus Rashford coming on for United.
So you're going to do a 4-4-2 then?
Yep. When all else fails, go to the 4-4-2. Two up front and hope and pray.
Unless you're going to play a 3-5-2, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to want to... because, see, here's the thing. They've got Gomes at left back, and Gomes doesn't overlap on the left. He does overlap well on the right because he's right-footed. And Konsa is, compared to how well he plays at centre-back for Aston Villa, when he plays at right-back for them, he's like a duck out of water. And I was saying earlier on that this would be the ideal game for Ben White to come on in place of Kyle Walker and show how good he is. But because of his arrogance and petulance, he's not even in the squad because he doesn't want to be called up. And now he's let his chance go by.
It's a personal choice, right? So
I'll come to that later in a minute.
Yeah.
Gomes now at left back, passing it back to Dunk. And Dunk with the pass back to Pickford. Declan Rice now. And of course, with Rice often coming back deep, it could very well be a bit of a 3-5-2, as it were.
Yeah.
A 5-3-2 in a way. But again, it is really more of a 5-3-2, though, because in the 2018 World Cup, we had Ashley Young at left back, and he was also right-footed. So there was no chance of Ashley Young overlapping either. Dunk, Mainoo, Rice. Rice again to Mainoo, the interplay between them. Ezri Konsa sending it forward, hoping to find Watkins, but Watkins has his pocket picked. A pass back to Krepsky, over to Lucas Beraldo, sending it forward. And it is John Stones, who it looks as though he's got the captain's armband and not Pickford.
Oh, Stones got a captain's armband. Yeah, Stones has it.
Yeah. And it is Captain Stones who passes it to Rice. Gomes. Rice sending it forward to Rashford, finding Foden. Rashford now retrieving the ball, but Raphinha picking his pocket. And Guimares hoping to try and get it out, and Rashford pushes him to the floor. And that is a needless free kick. And I think it's fair to say that in comparison to the first half, which saw end-to-end action, this has petered out a little bit.
Yeah. I said they were a bit more aggressive in the first half, so I guess they always sit back and peel it out as a draw. Yeah.
Okay. And we see a double substitution here. Raphinha and Guimares going off. Raphinha being replaced by the number 20, Savio Moreira de Oliveira. And Guimares, of course, also going off, wincing as he goes off. And he's being replaced by the number 18, Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa.
Oh, so, a lot of Aston Villa players on the pitch now.
Yep, Konsa, Watkins, and now Douglas Luiz. The sad part for Villa fans is that instead of Douglas Luiz taking corners to find the head of Ollie Watkins, it was Foden and Rice who were taking it, aiming for Harry Maguire of all people. And Gomes having to do some work there, passing it back to Jordan Pickford. Stones. Dunk. Across the Stones. Forward to Konsa on the right. And I will say that although Konsa doesn't enjoy overlapping very much, he does lend a bit of calm to proceedings. So credit to him for holding his own tonight. And Maino having his shirt tugged, but still riding that storm from Joao Gomes very well indeed. Rice now sending it forward to Rashford. Gomes is coming up. And here I am saying that Gomes doesn't overlap. The more, the shows how much I know, eh?
Yeah.
Hoping to send it forward, and Gomes was in fact running for that, but wasn't able to get to the ball in time, and Brazil can clear their lines. It is, of course, Savio Moreira who sends it forward, but that should be headed over by Dunk. Only as far as Andres Pereira, who does send it forward, finding Vinicius Jr. on his own in the penalty area, saved by Pickford, but Brazil are 1-0 up, and it is the substitute, Endrick, who, on the cusp of 80 minutes, might have given Brazil the lead and condemned England to a rare Wembley defeat.
Let's see how that goes.
You can see it and you can talk about it, but all I will say is that England were warned. They were warned. And not the best header there from Dunk, which pretty much set things in motion. A possible case for an offside, perhaps, against Endrick. We will have to see, maybe. But VAR will be checking this, I would imagine. And Dunk over there with a pretty poor header. Vinicius Jr. showing his strength to fend off John Stones. But we will have to see if Endrick was offside when the ball was played, because he is involved with the play. And if he was offside, then the goal will be chalked off.
VAR will come into play. But I think they will look at the ball going to Vinicius Jr. instead of going to Endrick, right? So let's see how that goes first. Okay. Any of them are offside. It's the Wisdom bad header. Yeah. All of them are offside. Vinicius Jr. was offside.
Well, the check is I can tell you that the check is complete. The goal stands, and as it stands.
What?
Yep.
Seriously? I thought the ball would have. All right.
Well, they say 21 is a winning number in some certain games, and 21 could be the winning jersey number for this game. England 0, Brazil 1. England were warned, and there will be a lot of very, very, very angry post-match commentaries tonight if it stays this way. Konsa, Bowen, the smallest mistakes will get you punished. Seriously.
No, that's what we call world-class players, right? I mean, in the world stage, I'm going to say this, Endrick is a world-class player yet, but this is the world stage. You're playing against Brazil. You make that silly mistake. You don't hit the ball far enough. Right? You actually pass it back to the Brazilian player.
Yeah. I mean, Dunk
there's
with
no
that
VAR,
header.
right? I don't think there's VAR.
There is VAR. There were officials and everything, but they had the check and it was concluded. And so what you said was right. I think they focused more on Vinicius Jr. and then Endrick came into the play only later on to get the rebound after Pickford saved it. And that will be a Brazil free kick. Gomes on the floor after an almighty tussle with Bowen there. And the number 21, Endrick, with what could prove to be the game winner, unless England can conjure up something magical in the next 7 minutes. And yep, in fact, it is confirmed. As Vinicius was playing the ball, Robinho was well behind him, completely onside. So the goal stands, and Brazil are deservedly 1-0 up. 7 minutes remaining.
What about the ball to Vinicius? Right? I thought when I saw the replay, right, Vinicius was in front.
No, I actually thought that Endrick would have been in front, but
both of them were in front. In my view,
it might have been Declan Rice who was playing Vinicius onside.
Okay.
But it was Pereira there who pretty much took advantage of that stupid header by Dunk. Yep. Lewis with that horrible header, and Brazil just dunked on England.
Why are they checking this ball? Why aren't they checking the other ball? The ball that came across to Vinicius Jr. first.
Your guess would be as good as mine, I'm afraid, sir. And now it is Vinicius Jr. up against Enzri Konsa. I've said that Konsa has held his own tonight, but Vinicius Jr. has looked very dangerous in the middle of the park. Luis now back to Lucas Beraldo. Fabrizio
he's
Bruno.
Offside, right? 1, 2, 3 players. Isn't he offside when the ball passed him?
Well, we'll have to see about that. I'm not too sure what the Portuguese officials were thinking there, but
the VAR at the moment, it, right?
At the moment, England have more danger now because a combination of Pereira and Savio trying to work magic. Douglas Luiz now passing it across the field to Lucas Beraldo, finding Wendell. And Brazil are now looking dangerous. And if they do manage to score a second, it is game over. And there will be a lot of questions to be asked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it is what it is.
I thought you were asleep. I thought you were asleep, Boet. Good to see you awake.
Hey, coach. Hey, hi now. Pace and power doesn't work in international football.
Yeah. Not all the time. It's like baseball in cricket. You have to know when to play it. I mean, as a Malaysian, I'm not too sure you follow cricket very much anyway. Joe Gomes heading that away, but Savio getting it back, and it is with Danilo now. And I have to say that the substitutes have worked wonders so far. Not just with Endrick for the goal, but the likes of Pereira and Savio, and Luiz obviously coming on to, provide a little bit of security.
I guess it's the substitution, right? The subs that Brazil brought on, I mean, the levels are different, and the sub that England brought on, I guess the levels are lower. So this is the result you get, when your full squad is not in action. So yeah, and having Luis dunk.
You have a point. I mean, Brazil didn't have the strongest first team, but their substitutes have really done the damage. And Endrick, they're not quite able to intercept Jordan Pickford's pass, and Kobe Mainoo can try and take it out. Declan Rice sending it forward. It is with Rashford. Gomes going further up front. And I can confirm that, Watkins did in fact come on for Bruno Guimares. So Guimares obviously being the tough enforcer, and Luis more of the creative playmaker. Settling things down this way. But Bowen now passing it back to Konsa, sending it across the middle of the park to Lewis Dunk. Declan Rice, Joe Gomes, Rice, Foden, who's had a fine game tonight in Saka's absence, pretty much getting the better of Wendell more frequently. And Gomes sending that into the penalty area, but the defense holding firm. Luiz, in fact, chipping that not quite away from danger, but now it is with Danilo who can send it forward. And we're coming up to 3 minutes left, plus stoppages at the end of the game. Stones, Mainoo, Dunk, Rice. And that is Rashford, who can't afford to be rash, but Danilo with a tackle that certainly wasn't rash. And Rice conceding a throw-in, stopping Savio Moreira from going further. So a chastening night for Gareth Southgate and England, and more questions than answered from the looks of it.
Mm.
And the thing about it being Ben White's personal choice, I did say at half-time, really, that, you know,
I guess Ben White's problem was it was already brewing in the World Cup, in 2022. So it's just spilled over. He's made his choice. He doesn't want to play for England for
well,
whatever reason.
the thing is, though, as I said, there were plenty of other right backs ahead of him in the pecking order, but most of those right backs are now injured. And Endrick trying to get the better of Konsa, but Konsa saying no. But slip by Konsa, that will, however, be an England free kick. And with most of those right backs injured, White could have had his chance to take a claim tonight. That could have been him instead of Ezri Konsa. And now we have another double substitution from Brazil. And it looks as though it will be the number 4, Bremer, and the number 26.
Onside. How can he be onside? His head. Oh, okay, the far end there.
Yeah, it was Declan Rice playing him on. I told you.
Yeah,
and it looks as though it will be Pablo Maya Gonçalves coming on for Vinicius Jr., who's had a good game tonight. An assist of sorts for what could be the winning goal. And Bremer should be coming on as well.
Okay. All right. I guess England has just, after that goal going in, England in the second half hasn't actually shown much initiative, right? So they deserve what they get. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Brazil was having
Bremer coming on for Wendell, and Pablo Maya Gonçalves coming on for Vinicius Jr. And this could be
Bremer. Juventus? Yeah.
Yep, Juventus. And England now into the last minute of normal time, trying to roll the dice. Ezri Konsa with the ball, passing it to Jordan Pickford, who's come out of his area. Sending it forward to Lewis Dunk, who tries to find Marcus Rashford and does. Rashford trying to send it forward, hoping to find Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins up against Fabrizio Bruno, and Watkins just can't find a way through. Does poke it through the defender's legs, but Pablo Maya able to clear that. And this could be more trouble for England as Endrick, the goal scorer, hoping to find Andres Pereira with a back heel, claiming a foul, but Arthur Diaz says nothing doing. And that is Rashford now coming into the penalty area. And he has it sort of taken away from him. And Pablo Maya now passing it to Andreas Pereira. And there will be 4 minutes of time added on. Enough time in theory for England to get an equaliser or for Brazil to completely put the final nail in England's coffin.
And I'm still wondering here, why doesn't he take off Watkins when Watkins hasn't been that effective in this whole game, right? You should throw on Tony by now.
Exactly. I mean, you want someone bigger and stronger who would really, go through this defense, because most of the strikers that we have aren't really as strong as Tony, and Tony offers so much more. I think he wanted to start with the more experienced Watkins, who was on form, but
I think it's shown that Watkins ain't at that level yet. Right? He's not a Harry Kane or.
Well, of course, I'd obviously have him over Eddie Nketiah, and I will agree that he is an excellent backup striker. But
not today.
Yeah, not today, though. You're right. And Gomes finding Rashford. Passing it back to Maino. Dunk. Rice. Bowen. And Brazil can get it away through Bremer. Some good defensive work there by the number 4, playing at left back.
And, I think Brazil has morphed into their first team.
Yeah. I would say that when some of the more established players come back into the team, they could be potentially even stronger. But worryingly for England, we've got more questions than answers. And as with Arsenal, our bench strength has to be called into question, or the lack of use of it, because Brazil have now made 6 substitutions.
Don't you feel like Don't you feel it's like Spurs now?
I'm trying. I don't know how to respond to that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right, sending into the penalty area, hoping to find Rashford, but
Now,
That should
Bremer
go out
cuts it out.
for, yeah.
Uh,
The time is, that was Danilo actually who cut it out. Danilo rising high, and it actually came off Rashford's head last, and the reaction on his face says it all.
nah, it's just a friendly. I guess this is a game where Southgate, right, should actually. What other talents do you think that England can actually bring in? I mean, in the overall sense, I don't see Watkins as a world-class type of striker, right, at the moment. And Rashford hasn't been firing, right? And of course, due to injuries, Saka is not there, Harry Kane is not there, right? On the defensive side, we're still stuck with the old, the old guard. You still got Pickford as the
Exactly.
Harry Maguire is, your centre back. Who else can we bring in, right? And the mistake by Lewis Dunk, right? That was his mistake, hitting the ball back to Pereira.
Yep. Well, Rashford has the ball now, passing it out to Dunk. They still need to get back into the penalty area, though, England, and Gomes has the ball and trying to send it forward, but it is blocked. It is with Foden now, though, who can try and chip it into the penalty area. That is headed behind, though, by the captain, Danilo, who has had a fine game tonight. As we've crossed the 4-minute threshold, I think Arthur Diaz might just allow this corner and maybe one or two other pieces of play before calling a halt to proceedings. But, of course, earlier on in the game, there was a tribute to Terry Venables, FA Cup winning manager, of course, in 1991, passed away last year at the age of 80. Also managed England in Euro 96. A good manager, but he also had his faults at times. Rice with the corner, right footed in swinging, and Bremer heads that away. Gomes, though, trying to find Meno, and not the best ball, and Savio Moreira is able to intercept that, and it's 3 against 1 at the back now. Brazil can end this, but that pass finds Pereira, passing it to Endrick, saved by Pickford, and how important could that save be? Well, it doesn't change the result, because I do believe the referee has blown for full time. But that save is the difference between England going down 2-0 and going down 1-0. But a defeat is still a defeat. And this performance leaves more questions than answers for England. Brazil's new team are looking really, really good. With the stars to come back, they will look even better. It will be interesting to see the direction in which this team goes under Dorival Jr. But for now, they can celebrate a magnificent win at the famous Wembley Stadium. The full-time score is England 1, Brazil 0. And Eugene, do you agree? More questions than answers for England.
There's always been more questions than answers for England, right? Ever since Southgate has taken over, we've always been questioning it since the the Euros, now then the World Cup. Now, right, we're supposed to be having the golden generation of English players that's going to, bring us glory. So I don't see it here at the moment, but it's still a long way to go to the Euros, right? The injuries and who will recover, who will be playing again. Guys, we there's another game coming up against Belgium. Let's see what happens there. But I guess you can say it's a good win for Brazil, right? Giving this manager a good platform to work on, right? So at this moment in time, it's a friendly game, right? While things are happening, right? Maybe the players are more focused on, the league and all that, not so into this game, but it is a friendly. But we'll see. We'll see how England develops before the Euro comes along. Today we in a sense of attacking wise, without Harry Kane, without Saka, we look a bit toothless, I guess. Right?
Yep.
The England team looks a bit toothless. So.
Yep. And you can blame Mikel Arteta for that. We keep overplaying him with no viable replacement for him. There's been talk about Rodrygo possibly coming over to Arsenal. At this rate, I'd sooner have Endrick really over him because, Rodrygo did try his best, but Endrick really looks sharp and lively, and he'd lend a lot to our team. And It's a wonder that
Where's Endrick playing at the moment? He's in Real Madrid, right?
Nope,
Is
he is back in Brazil at Palmeiras.
Yeah, but he's a loanee at Real Madrid, right? Real Madrid
No. He will join Real Madrid in July.
In July, yeah. So Real Madrid's got bids on him, so let's see how it goes.
So
and he's a young boy. He's 17 or 18, is he? How old is Hendrik?
17.
Yeah, 17-year-old debut international goal. Even though it's a friendly,
yep, and by the time he turns 8, joins Madrid, he will be 18. And this is, of course, his third appearance for Brazil. And what an appearance! What a time to what a way to make your mark. Well,
Brazil is looking more at the Copa America. You get what I'm saying? So all these games coming up, they're building up to the Copa America, and if they don't perform well in the Copa America, right, this manager won't be there anymore. I can tell you that that's very true. So
I don't know about that. I don't know. Because
Brazil has to make at least the semifinals of the Copa America. I'm not saying winning it. They have to reach a certain level to prove that they are going in the right direction. Of course, we'll see. The Copa America coming up, if I'm not mistaken, it's being played this year. Where is it? In Uruguay or something like that?
I'll find out and tell you.
Yeah, a few countries that they're playing it into, right? But we'll see. We'll see. It's just a friendly game. Our weaknesses were shown, right? I still don't understand why didn't Southgate at least pick out Watkins, throw in Tony to give him his chance, right? At least we could go to the side. I mean, go to the bylines and cross the ball in. And Tony's strong with his headers. He's a big, strong boy. Maybe it could cause some problems there. But we all know Southgate, right? We've been through him for how many years now? 6 years of Southgate ball. Yeah, so.
Yeah,
please, Manchester United, take him away from England.
Well, I can tell you that the Copa America is actually being hosted in the United States. And
this is going to be interesting.
Yep. Very interesting indeed. In 14 host cities, 14 venues, 16 teams from 2 confederations, CONMEBOL and CONCACAF. So I believe Molina is actually hosting a watch-along for Canada against Trinidad and Tobago. I'll find out what the
she's not doing it. I saw somebody else is doing it for her.
It might be her friend Pargav, maybe.
Yeah, not Pargav. Another guy. Because before I saw your channel, I mean before I saw when what was it? I can't remember.
Well, it is half time and it is 0-0 there, and we're just actually coming up to the start of the second half over in Lyon between Germany and France. And Germany took a shock lead within barely 20 seconds.
Okay. I'm not sure whether.
I wonder if the score remains the same. Yeah. I wonder if the score is still the same. But it is really quite. It really has to be said a very disappointing result this for England, because you would have thought that with Brazil being weakened, we would have had a chance. I was dreaming of a win, but now I've been left heartbroken. But this is what supporting England can get you at the worst of times. And I know that under Bobby Robson, we had some even worse results in the build-up to tournaments, but at least in Italia 90, we got our act together, and how. And a fitting way, of course, for him to end his time as England manager. I'd sooner have Bobby Robson over Southgate, though, any day of the week. Although even Robson's tactical ability was questioned on many occasions, of course. Lord rest his soul, as always.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is what it is. But Manny, I've got to make a move soon because I'll be doing the F1 watch along, right? On behalf of Stephen, right? In memory of Stephen Featley, our close friend, on Persuasion TV later. I'll be on around my time about 11:45 a.m. UK time will be about 3:45 a.m. Right, and I think your time is something around 9:15 a.m. or something like that in India.
Yes,
So
but
guys,
I won't be I won't be joining you though because I think I'll
yeah,
be
I
getting
know.
up and going out. But
Yeah,
I do hope you have a good stream, and obviously Molina and company will be at least partially awake because it's also going to be about midnight there Eastern
yeah,
time. Maybe you'll get some viewers in the Pacific region, and
yeah.
Germany once again with a chance to shoot. Kai Havertz missing. Why am I not surprised?
But Manny, thanks for having me on. I'll catch up with you later, right? Maybe somewhere midweek or next week, I will do a show again. Right?
Definitely. But just a
Yeah,
reminder to people, do please subscribe to Spurs U Asian TV. Do please follow Eugene on Twitter and any other of his social media outlets. But as always, it has been a pleasure. You've given me some great company, and I hope to do this, do another watch along with you soon. But
yeah,
some of these games really are too late for you. It's just as
yeah,
well
yeah,
that
yeah.
in the Ramadan period, you are, of course, having a late meal around about these
Yeah.
times anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, as always, take care of yourself and terima kasih.
Yeah. Sama-sama.
And to the rest of you all in the chat, I will be ending this stream in about a few minutes because I'm about to settle down and watch the second half of France against Germany. France still trailing 1-0 to that very outrageously early Florian Wirtz's strike, and still have not been able to get a foothold on this game. And the team is certainly a little bit changed. I know that Mbappe is still up front, but France are looking a little bit disjointed. But the full-time score, of course, from Wembley Stadium is England 1-0, Brazil 1. Brazil with a wonderful smash and grab victory. Well deserved, it must be said. And England and Southgate have more questions to be answered as we go towards the Euros. And we were talking, obviously, about why Antony wasn't brought on. I think it's fair to say that the match against Belgium might be a bigger test because Belgium are also in the Euros. And so it will be a bigger test against opposition we could potentially be facing in the tournament proper. But Germany into the penalty area now. And it is the number 10 for Germany who's passed it back. And it is the number 7. It is Kai Havertz. And this time he scores the easiest of tap-ins. And Germany are 2-0 up. And that is probably one of the last updates I'll give you from this because I'm about to end the stream. It's time for me to go to sleep. Delight for your Julian Nagelsmann, but Didier Deschamps must be tearing the remainder of his hair out, really. Once again, the defense caught cold. Nobody really marking the Germany number 10. I'll find out who that is in a minute. Wonderful through ball by Waltz, and that was, in fact, Musiala, the number 10, who rounded Samba in goal, who had Bryce doing something like a Samba dance, ending up on his backside. And Havertz with the easiest of tap-ins. Nothing Benjamin Pavard could do about that. But as I said, Belgium will probably be a more accurate barometer of where this England team stands and how they would be expected to perform. And it will be interesting to see the lineup that will be put out for that particular game. There will be some changes. Obviously, Kyle Walker won't play with a tight hamstring. So could we see Joe Gomes instead of Ezri Konsa at right back? And who could be the replacement left back? It'll remain to be seen. But Germany are all over France at the moment, like a white rash. And I did say that that is one of the last updates I will provide because I'm about to end the stream. So all to play for on Tuesday. At least on my birthday, England, get your act together. And as for Brazil, all I will say is parabéns e boa sorte. You deserved this win, and I hope that this will be the start of a new phase. And Daz in the chat, good evening to you. Thank you for joining in. A little bit late, but better late than never. I will tell you how I might line up. Obviously, the 4-2-3-1 formation does work, but instead of obviously the striker will change for a start. So I'll be going sort of from the top down, as it were. Obviously, Harry Kane was unavailable for this match. I'm hoping that he will be fit for Belgium, in which case he will start. But if he doesn't start, I think Ollie Watkins will not be starting. I would sooner have Ivan Toney on his own up front, see what sort of damage he can do against a Belgium team, which will feature a lot more Premiership players. As for the midfield three, I thought Foden looked really good on the right. Bellingham, I think he wasn't quite as influential as you would have liked him to be. He normally plays. I mean, in this 4-2-3-1 formation, this is the position he would like to play in. But I think it's fair to say that the Brazil defense and defensive midfielders had his number. And on the left, would I start with Rashford, who because Gordon looked really good in parts, but as the game got on, he started to tire a little bit. And it could very well be that maybe Rashford could start in place of him. So hopefully that answers your question. Up top, it would be Ivan Toney or Harry Kane. And the attacking midfield three would be Foden on the right, Bellingham in the middle, and Rashford on the left. That could be a position where you could thrive. And if Rashford doesn't do well, just bring on Watkins if Kane isn't available. Defensive midfielders, Declan Rice keeps his place. And if I take a look at the squad, the big question is who could play in that defensive midfield role? I wouldn't want to put Jimmy Maddison there. So it looks as though maybe Gallagher could keep his place. But if Henderson becomes available, then sadly, it's not what I would want. It's not what you would want. But Henderson would have to accompany Declan Rice there, especially with Calvin Phillips not in the squad. As far as the defense is concerned, assuming Walt Walker will be injured, I think Chilwell looked good defensively, but with when it came to taking a shot, he was absolutely awful. Dunk, obviously, when he came on, he pretty much had a moment of mental flatulence when he made that poor header. So it will still be Stones and Maguire in the centre. I wouldn't like to see Gomes start at left back and Konsa at right back, but with the squad so thin as it is, I don't know what more we could do. It probably will be the Konsa will start at right back and Chilwell will be at left back, and Gomes comes on to replace Konsa because Gomes does not look comfortable at left back. I'm sorry to say that. And in goal, it probably would have to be Pickford, but if not Pickford, Sam Johnston. So 4-2-3-1, if that answers your question, Daz. Pickford or Johnston in goal. Konsa, Stones, Maguire, Chilwell. Rice, Henderson. Ugh. Foden, Bellingham, Rashford. Or we could perhaps play Maddison in the number 10, maybe bring him on, or else bring him on for Bellingham if we need to. And up front, if not Harry Kane, Ivan Toney. So I hope that answers your question. And if you're still in the chat, I'm sure you probably didn't enjoy the game, but, you know, I'd like to hear your opinions and where do you think we could go from here? I think if there is one crumb of comfort, as I said, we should have a bigger test against a Belgian team who will be in the Euros while Brazil are sort of rebuilding. And as Eugene has said, it will be geared towards the Copa America. I do not believe that Dorival will lose his job because he has to be trusted with the rebuilding of this team. And look, they had a long period before they could eventually find a settled coach. And they sacked a couple of coaches, in fact, during the World Cup qualifying campaign. So, I mean, they didn't sacked. I think one of them resigned, maybe both of them. I don't know. But Ousmane Dembele there with a shot, not too far away. So, nothing much more to be said, really. A disappointing night as far as England were concerned. Hoping for a win, but I think we probably ended up being a little bit too complacent. Brazil were determined. Hungary wanted it more. And in the end, we have to say that they were the deserved winners. So all to play for on Tuesday. And hopefully on my birthday, they will get their acts together. So thanks a lot to everyone who's joined in the chat. Obviously, big up to Eugene, who came in earlier on and then came on the show later. Chelsea fan, Hargav, Joe Tier, Step C, Mr. B, and Daz at the very end. Thank you very much for joining in. A little bit late, but better late than never. I am about to end this stream and settle back and watch the second half of France and Germany. France also having more than a few problems with their own bench strength, while Germany are looking a team rejuvenated under Nagelsmann. But just another reminder, do please like this video. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks a lot to everyone who's joined in today. And I hope to see you again soon. We should be back on Tuesday. I don't think we'll be covering the England-Belgium game because there is the small matter of the playoff finals to be covered, 3 of them at the same time. We could possibly be doing the Wales-Poland one, seeing how Robert Lewandowski and his team do against a Welsh team after Gareth Bale. But for now, though, of course, all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for joining in, as always. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay happy, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the sporting action on offer. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, or Hannah wouldn't do, or anyone else wouldn't do. But as always, until then, farewell to thee, goodbye, and God bless to all of you. Cheers.